to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozer Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Prashant, how are you today?
I'm doing excellent. Always good to be here.
Always good to have you here. Thank you for being here. Ozer, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Thank you for asking.
It's so good to see both of you. I'm so excited about today's show because obviously every week that you're in the studio, you're delivering such amazing information to our viewers at home. People are receiving it so well. They're calling in. They want to book that consultation with you because they know it's only available to them for viewers of the show. So thank you for doing that. But today's show specifically, this is very interesting to me. A lot of people don't realize, but retirement can be more expensive than people anticipate, and there are several reasons why. This first one I'm going to guide to you, Ozer, if you don't, or to Prashant, if you don't mind. Increasing life expectancy. People are living longer. Prashant?
You know, if people are living longer, it means that you have to make your money stretch a lot longer. I mean, retirees' number one concern in this day and age is running out of money before they run out of life, right? Like, it's just the idea of running out of money that's really scary. And so why does that make retirement more expensive is because with the threat of increasing taxes, which we're going to talk about in a second here, you know, the more money that you need to put your hands on for a longer period of time, it's a huge risk that people are having to overcome. And so one thing we talk about is something that I call foundational income. Okay, so foundational income is income that you can always count on, right? It's contractual agreements that you can count on. Things like a pension. If you worked for, say, the federal government or the state government, you have a contractual agreement with that entity to now pay you an income for the rest of your life. Contractual agreement with the federal government with Social Security, right? Now, you know, we'll talk maybe in a different show about how long Social Security may be there for us, but it is a contractual agreement to collect income. Maybe you self-funded a contractual agreement using an annuity to create income for the rest of your life. What we like about those contractual agreements is it doesn't rely on how much money you have. It's all about how much income you're going to have coming in. And so I think that's just so important because when you only have a finite pool of money to draw from, the longer and longer and longer that we live, the higher the probability is that that pool is going to one day be exhausted. And I'll tell you what, that is a really scary, kind of overwhelming thing to try to plan for, especially if you start planning too late. If you start planning when you're in your 70s or mid 70s, it may be too late by then. You want to really get out in front of it and make sure that you're in a good position.
And one other thing that I can add to what Prashant said, like I seen this a couple of weeks ago with one of the clients we were talking about, like they made their plans, and based on their plans, they are going to take out, they have like $1 million, and they're going to take out, you know, 5% a year from the $1 million to do the life that they were planning to do at their retirement, which is $50,000. And we are talking about the whole things like, you know, the gas prices going up, the groceries going up, everything is going up. And I was saying that, okay, even though you don't count this so much, but what happens if the market goes down? If you do lose the 20%, now you don't have $1 million, now you have $800,000. So what is the plan? Well, I'm going to take less. Well, is that really that you work so hard at your lifetime to come to the retirement and to live the life that you wanted to live, and you need to sacrifice because you didn't properly? I think that's the important part.
I agree, because you want people to enjoy their retirement. You don't want them to skimp and to just get by. Absolutely. Ozer, this next one, Social Security is a component, not an income replacement. Let's talk about that a little bit.
So when we look at the Social Security, I think Prashant was originally saying that at the last conversation, okay, it's an agreement between, you know, us and the government that they're going to give us certain amount of money when we reach to a certain amount of age. That depends on when we're going to stop working and when we want to collect the Social Security. It's also like how long are we going to live, which none of us has the crystal ball to know that. But at the end, there is a possibility that the Social Security may not be funded 100% in the future, which we don't know that. I'm just looking at my Social Security statement, and my Social Security statement says that in 2035, I'm going to get 72% of my benefit. So if I calculate just make the numbers like round up. It's, $5,000 I was going to get, I'm going to get 70%.
Yeah.
Now it's 3,500.
Yeah.
Then what's going to happen?
Yeah, exactly. And I think the other thing is those of you who think, oh, I've been contributing to Social Security all these years, Social Security will be an income that I can now fully live on. I mean, I'll tell you what, that is not the case, at least not with our clients, okay? And really, most people I meet with, Social Security is not nearly enough on its own for you to live the way that you want to. I mean, yes, it makes up one small part of that income pie, and that's why it is so important to maximize the benefit you do get.
Yeah.
Because it is not enough typically for most folks. So yeah, of course you want to maximize it, but with that being said, it's one small sliver of the overall retirement income pie chart. You have to figure out how to supplement that Social Security to give you that fulfilling lifestyle that you want to have. So I love the way that you phrased it. It's just one component. It's not an income replacement tool to recreate what the paychecks you were getting while you were working.
Sure. Absolutely. This next one, Prashant, taxes are an issue. Let's talk a little bit about that one.
So look, taxes are an issue because the higher taxes go, the less income you have in your pocket. It's just as simple as that. I'll tell you what, we're in a tax environment today where taxes are artificially low, okay? Believe me, I know, look, I pay a lot in taxes too, okay? But one thing we will say is that when you look just simply at the marginal income tax rates that we have today, I know it doesn't always feel like it, but you will look at income tax rates and find that taxes today are lower than they've been in a really, really long time. And the issue with that is that we've been putting money away into our pre-tax retirement accounts, our IRAs, our 401ks, our thrift savings plans, thinking that when we retire, we'll actually be in a lower tax bracket. But the issue is the current tax code, the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act that we're in, scheduled to expire at the end of 2025. And you know what happens after 2025? Everything reverts to where taxes are going to go up. I think we were talking, I think you read a statistic. What was the average tax rate before the tax cut?
It's so funny that I was, reading the numbers, and in the year of 2000, the average tax rate was 28% that we were paying. In 2020, the average tax rate was 22%. So it went down after the new rules and so forth. But that one, just like Prashant said, is going to revert back in 2025. So what I'm seeing is at least we're going to go back to paying 28% or more. We don't know exactly what's going to be, but it's going to be at least that much.
Yeah, and it's not just about income taxes as well. I mean, what about property taxes? I don't know about you, but my property taxes go up every year. Do yours?
Mine does go up also, but you live in the city. So that's another story.
It is. But look, if taxes keep going up, both income taxes, property taxes, whatever, if taxes keep going up, that ultimately results in less income in your pocket. Less income in your pocket means you're going to have to withdraw more to sustain the same exact quality of life, or you're going to sacrifice somewhere and reduce your quality of life to make your dollars stretch further. And that is not what you want in our experience. Our clients don't want that. They don't want to sacrifice when they retire. And guess what? They shouldn't have to sacrifice because you put in 30 or 40 years of hard work. You deserve to retire with choices. You deserve to retire with flexibility. If you are not sure whether or not you're on the right track, you got to pick up the phone and dial this phone number. It's 833-308-5200. You pick up the phone and dial that number. Our operators are standing by and they will help you book a complimentary, no obligation visit with our team at Elite Income Advisors. By the way, complimentary, that means totally free. You come in to visit with us, there's no obligation to become a client, but what we will help you with is understanding whether you are on the right track to retire the way that you want to. This is a plan that we call the Retire Smart Roadmap, and that roadmap is going to include things like a Social Security analysis. It'll include an Income for Life plan. The Income for Life plan will help you map out what your income is going to look like every year for the rest of your lifetime. We'll have to address things like inflation and the threat of rising taxes and what you can proactively do today to save yourself tax dollars potentially in the future. All starts with that phone call. It's 308-5200. You can also scan the QR code in the bottom of your screen or visit retiremaryland.com.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. We know that you have a lot of questions for Prashant and Ozzy about how to plan your perfect retirement. They are offering you the chance to get your questions answered today just by being one of the viewers of the show. Don't miss the opportunity to book that complimentary consultation. Again, if you have your smartphone handy, go ahead, grab it, click on the QR code at the bottom corner of your screen. We're going to take a very short commercial break. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more about planning your retirement when we return.
Before COVID, we were around 4 or 5 people.
It's a pretty tight-knit team that we have.
But now we are growing and we have about 14 people right now.
It's really 4 or 5 advisors and 4 or 5 support folks, plus an accountant, CPA.
What I'm trying to really create is the family place that everyone loves what they do and enjoys helping the client. My parents, when they had their own company with my father, everybody liked to work because he liked to take care of the people, he likes to help the people, and I'm trying to establish the same thing in our company.
It's very much a team, kind of family-like culture at our company. You know, we hang out outside of work. We care a lot about each other's personal lives as well.
And welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozzy Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Gentlemen, a great show we're having today, talking about why sometimes retirement can be more expensive than people plan. Ozzy, this next one, let's talk a little bit about this. Inflation. Wow. Why is that an issue for retirees?
I think it's going to be an issue for a long period of time when we look at what's going on in the world and the United States, right? If you are thinking about retiring at age 62, and if you think that you're going to need $6,000 today, and let's say the inflation rates are going up with a 6%, okay? 6%. 12 years later, at the age of 74, you're going to need $12,000. So you needed 6 today. In 12 years, you're going to need 12.
Wow.
So when you do your planning, have you considered the numbers like this? Like, I need 6, but I'm going to need 12?
Yeah.
I think it's very important.
That's scary.
It is scary because maybe you did a great job and you saved $1 million or $2 million. You did a great job saving. If you saved $2 million, by the way, you did a great job saving. But if you need to start withdrawing $5,000, $6,000, $12,000 a month just to keep the standard of living exactly the same, how quick are you potentially going to run out of money? I mean, $12,000 a month is a lot of money, right? Now, hopefully inflation doesn't stay where it is, but we can't predict that. I mean, with the way that the Federal Reserve has been acting through the course of 2022 and even into 2023, interest rates have gone up, and that is to ultimately try to curb inflation. But I don't know. I still go to the grocery store and it doesn't feel like they've curbed inflation, right? I mean, so I think your point is very well taken. I think a lot of people plan to get to a target income in retirement, but they forget to make sure that that income actually increases.
That's true.
In retirement.
And sometimes, some people might think about that, oh, okay, the inflation is increasing. Probably my portfolio is increasing, right? Because the market is going up. So if we do look at what the market done last year until now, there is no change. But my BG bill was, I think it was $200. Now it's like $330.
It's a lot.
But the market is same.
Yeah, it is a lot. So it's a huge concern. I think we have to be proactive. I mean, everything that we talk about is about being proactive and not procrastinating, really, when it comes to your retirement plan. So it's a great point.
It's so important to talk about, absolutely. And I want to ask you this next one, Prashant. Obviously, lifestyle choices. Let's talk about lifestyle choices.
Yeah, and this is kind of a piggyback on inflation, right? I love when they post statistics about inflation. They're always talking about the averages, right? The average inflation rate, the average cost of gas, the average cost of food. Well, I'll tell you this, the people that we meet with, they're not average people.
Yeah.
So why are we looking at the averages? I'll tell you what, when a client comes in and they said, we're overseas in Italy for 2 weeks, or we went on a river cruise, you know what the costs of those have all done? They've gone up, exponentially. I'm not talking about adding an extra $500 to a vacation. We're talking about thousands and thousands of dollars. Well, if that is what your dream retirement is, then you should be able to have that. But the only way that you're going to have that is if you've taken the steps to proactively plan. And what are we actually planning for? We're planning for the bad times. When we go through a year like we did in 2022, I think one of the biggest challenges that people face is they have to turn their portfolio into some kind of an income. The challenge is when you lose 20 or 30 or 40% of your money due to the market, it's really difficult to take income out of a portfolio that you've already lost 20 or 30% on.
Absolutely.
Right? And so now what we have to do is figure out during those different times, those tough times, where our income is going to be generated from. And that's why in our office, we use what we call a bucketing approach. We have what we call a green bucket of money and a red bucket of money. The red bucket of money is going to go up and down with the market, but the green bucket of money is going to buy us time. We're going to be able to pull income out of that green bucket so that we can let our risk bucket recover. It's just kind of a different way of thinking about it. I'll tell you what, from the feedback we've gotten from our TV audience is that their advisors at the big box retailers are not really talking about it conceptually in terms of bucketing their money. I think that's what makes the way that we plan really cool.
I do too, because it also makes it easy to understand when you have the bucket approach. You know, you have your sleep well at night money and you have everything else that you need. It makes it all streamlined.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely. Well, Prashant, I know that you're going to have a very special offer to present to the viewers at home. I'd love to spend a little time talking about what that is before we open the phone lines.
You know, you're probably sitting at home saying, I've never heard of a bucketing approach. I've never looked at how my income may or may not rise in retirement. With the threat of inflation out there, with the threat of market volatility, with the uncertainty politically and surrounding the tax code and Social Security, the responsibility falls on you to make sure that your plan is going to hold up to all these different threatening circumstances. And that's what we're here to do, is to help you through that. But it requires action on your part. You have to pick up the phone and give us a call. It is 833-308-5200. When you come in to visit with us, we're going to take you through a comprehensive planning process. It's going to help you understand what your income is going to look like for the rest of your life. We'll talk about if taxes go up, how you're going to deal with that. We'll talk about if we go through another market like we saw in 2008 or even more recently in 2022, whether or not your retirement can withstand that type of market action. This is something that we call the Retire Smart Roadmap process. We will help you put that written plan together, but it does require that you pick up the phone and give us a call right now. It's complimentary, no obligation to come in and visit with us. It's 833-308-5200, and you can visit retiremaryland.com.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you so much. To our viewers at home, that number to call is on your screen, 833-308-5200. We know that you're sitting in the viewing audience today and that you have a lot of questions about how to plan your perfect retirement. Prashant and Ozzy have the answers for you. Again, all you have to do is pick up the phone and call 833-308-5200 or grab your smartphone, click on that QR code in the bottom corner of your screen. That'll take you right to Ozzy and Prashant's landing page. We're going to take a very short commercial break, but don't go anywhere. We have so much more about planning your retirement when we return.
My philosophy is that losses hurt more than gains help. And it's all about creating a strong foundation. And in my opinion, that foundation is the foundation of having income that you can always depend on.
Most of the financial advisors focus on the accumulation phase because that's the one who brings most of the revenue to the firm.
I believe that the strongest retirement plans are created with creating a solid foundation for where your income is going to come from, and then building the rest of the plan in as low risk of a way as possible.
That's why it makes us slightly different than other firms, that we focus on the distribution side not the accumulation side. Distribution side is the most important part of the time because you're retired and you want to make sure you have all the income coming in.
While you're working, you're always just juggling money coming in and money going out. And when you retire, that doesn't really change. It's still very much about income coming in and expenses going out. What changes is where that income is actually going to come from. What we focus on is making sure that we can walk somebody from A to Z through their income, their investments, their insurance, their estate planning, their tax planning, and really wrap it all together in an easy to understand way that truly is focused on educating.
Welcome back to Retire Smart Maryland. My name is Cynthia Defazio, and I'm joined today by Prashant Sabapathi and Ozer Culhagil of Elite Income Advisors. Gentlemen, a great show we're having today, talking about planning for retirement, talking about how it can be more expensive than people plan. But in this last segment, this is a lot of fun. We're going to talk about some of the reasons, some of the myths and misconceptions why people don't talk to a financial advisor. I'm going to toss a few of those out there, if that would be okay.
Yeah.
This is interesting. Ozer, I'm going to take this to you. It says, I don't know where to start. Would you find that to be true? A lot of people hesitate because they don't know where to start, Ozer?
Yes, they don't know where to start, and they don't know when to start, and they don't know what to plan for. And when we do look at it, we look at 10 years and the 7 years and the 5 years and the 3 years and the 2 years. We want to make sure that, when it comes to that timelines, we do stuff. For example, the 10 years, we like to do our, catch-up contributions to maximizing it so we can get the most out of the employer's benefit that is going to come in, and the most we can do to defer. Then after that, what we are going to do is that how we going to do the expense spreadsheet. Like, I like to do the expense spreadsheet, and I like to talk about the expense spreadsheet to make sure that we know our budget, right?
Yeah, and I think that's so important. Is I think a lot of times when you go to visit a financial professional, I think financial professionals are so eager to talk about the best stock or the best investment or the best annuity out there for somebody to consider. And to me, that's totally the wrong place to start, okay? I think where we should start is to begin with what's important. Okay, beginning with what's important to me is all about understanding what you want retirement to look like. I mean, how can you build a plan if you don't know what you're planning for, right?
That's true.
And so to me, I think a lot of people don't know where to start. I think that's a very common frustration. That's what meeting with a pro can actually help you with, is we're going to help you map out a vision for what you want your life to look like, and then we're going to put a plan together to help you achieve that.
I love that. Thank you, Prashant. This is a great one, too. It isn't fun. I don't have a lot of free time, and I would rather do other things with my free time.
Yep.
Prashant, do you find that to be true? People are saying that about planning for retirement?
Look, here's what I will say is if you end up in a situation where you can't retire or retirement is not what you expected, I think that you have to own that and take responsibility for it. I get it. I mean, I also do a lot of things that aren't fun, but I do it because they're necessary, right? And I think, I hate to be kind of hard on the audience, but if that is your mindset, then yeah, I mean, you're probably not going to end up in a situation where you're well prepared. I'll tell you what, one thing that we try to commit to is we try to make it a simple, not an overwhelming process. There are a lot of moving parts to retirement planning, and I think advisors have a bad habit of making things more complicated than it needs to be. When you come in to visit with us and we put together the expense report or we put together the income plan, the biggest thing that we hear from the folks that we meet with is, wow, that is just so simple.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying retirement planning is easy. It's absolutely not easy. But I'll tell you what, it can be really, really simple when you break it down to its fundamentals. And so it's kind of cool because we come into work every day and we meet with folks. And for those of you who don't think it's fun, I think it's a lot of fun. Yeah, and you know what's really fun? Being able to retire the way that you want to because you took a couple hours to do something so important. I mean, how many times do we have people tell us that they spent weeks and months planning for that one week-long vacation, but you won't spend an hour or two to figure out the most important part of the last 30 years of your life.
That is
to me,
true.
that doesn't make any sense.
Like millions of dollars that the clients have, but they don't want to spend an hour or two.
Yeah.
I know.
And like when you asked that question, I was also thinking about that. Sometimes the people, when they come to us, they say like, I'm so embarrassed. And like, why? What happened? Like, I don't think I have enough. I was planning to have, $4 million before I retired. I'm like, $4 million? Like, what were you planning to do with the $4 million? And they map it out, and we go to the budget, and I'm like, then we find out at the end, they really don't need the maybe $4 million, and they could be fine with the $3 million. Then that's the aha moment that they see. I said,
It's a great point.
Yeah.
It's absolutely a great point. I think people have a tendency to not give themselves enough credit for how good of a position they're in. I can't tell you, I've met with people that have $500,000 and they came in embarrassed, literally. They swallowed their pride, came in, felt really embarrassed that they didn't have enough money saved. And you know what? We were able to put together a plan that said, you have $500,000 and that's meaningful to you. And we made it work in a way that they didn't have to sacrifice in retirement. So it doesn't matter if you have $500,000 or if you have $5 million. That means something different to every single person. And I think that's what's really important is making sure that your plan works for you.
Again, it comes down to being customized. It's not cookie cutter, and you both take such an amazing amount of time really to get to know your clients. You give them peace of mind, and again, it's all just amazing what you do.
Yeah, and that's why we love doing the show. I almost think about it as putting together a puzzle, right? It's a financial puzzle, and at the end of the day, you're responsible for making sure that all of those different puzzle pieces fit together. That's going to be, how do I collect my Social Security benefit? How do I leave the most meaningful legacy when I'm gone? Where is my income going to come from? How am I going to deal with the threat of rising taxes? Each one of these is a different puzzle piece that has some kind of impact on your overall financial plan. You dial that phone number, 833-308-5200. You'll be able to schedule a complimentary, no obligation visit with our team. And when you come in to visit with us, we will put you on track to creating a written Retire Smart roadmap that will start to answer all of those questions. Totally complimentary, but you have to call right now, exclusive for our TV audience.
Prashant, thank you so much. Ozzy, thank you. To our viewers at home, thank you for spending time with us today on Retire Smart Maryland. Be safe, be happy, be blessed. We'll see you back here 1 week from today. Take care now.